Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Shane Shaji. Shane, thank you so much for the letter. It was very, very sweet of you, and I'm really glad that you're enjoying this year's spoilers. So thank you so much for the support. We could not do it without you, and we really appreciate it. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day like Shane, check out our Patreon link in the info box below, or send us some mail. Our P.O. box is also in the box below. Okay. So, woo! Last night, Cliff was evicted by a vote of 6-4. Blindsided. Oh, he's not going home. Cause yeah, he was quickly brought back into the game after a dominant performance in the camp comeback competition. Who could have predicted that, right? I mean, really, he freaking killed it. I was really sad to see David, Ovi, and Kemi go for many reasons, which I talked about in last night's episode chat. But what are you gonna do? We gotta keep this train moving, right? So anyway, they did not do the HOH competition during the episode. But don't worry, it's coming soon. It's in the spoiler. All right, so when the feeds came back after the show, it was like 7:15 p.m. Big Brother time. It was only for like a few seconds. During that time, Bella was in the boat lounge with all of Undeniable. She had the floor. Everybody was listening to her, and she was like, I was just being cordial with the people that I was sharing a room with, and you can't get mad because I was forming a bond with... Bleh. And then the feed's cut. So my guess is the 6 shooters were telling her that they could not trust her or Nick because of all of the conversations that they were having with people outside of the alliance. So she was trying to defend that or come up with excuses for why she was talking to all those other people. So then on the other cameras, Nicole was saying, I'm freaking here. She says, she's got this HOH. This is her HOH. Yes. Aww, Nicole didn't even know that she was staying this week. She had no idea, so she was just shocked to be there and that she didn't have to compete in the camp comeback competition, so she was pretty psyched about that. So then the feeds actually came back at 7:36 p.m. Big Brother time. So we missed a lot of juicy stuff while the feeds were down. Keep in mind, no HOH at this point, so people are scrambling, trying to cover their butts because there's no telling who's gonna win this next HOH, what side is gonna be in power after this next HOH. So they're all trying to make like they still like each other and they still wanna work together. So let's start with the boat lounge. Bella is in there with Sam, Jack, and Jackson, and Bella says, it feels shitty to not have it be a unanimous decision, regardless of who's HOH. Welcome to Big Brother. Not every vote's gonna be unanimous. In fact, we really hate it when it's unanimous because it's boring as hell. And she says now the 2 of them, meaning Cliff and Nicole, are still here. And you never know what the HOH competition could be. That is very true. Ah! Okay, so Jackson says going forward, communication needs to be an open line. So Bella suggests that they get all of the 9 together and they all should agree not to talk to anyone outside of their group and basically treat the others like they're in camp comeback. Wow, that's pretty crappy. So Jack says, well, since the beginning of camp comeback, I went the whole time not talking game with the camp comebackers. So he says to Bella, look me in the eyes and tell me that you didn't talk to a single camp comebacker about game. And Bella's like, oh, but I talked to David, but all I did was say that I hope he comes back. I didn't talk game with any of them. Come on, a lot of them were talking game on the down low. So Sam says, you know, David came to me and told me that Jackson was trying to set up some sort of power trio with him and Jack. And Jackson's like, what? He is claiming that David was the one that suggested the 3-headed monster to him. Oh Lord, this is just like the Nicole thing all over again. And of course, David is not there to speak up for himself. If you think about it, when this happened with Nicole, Jackson was so quick to, okay, so like he would be accused of something, and then he would take whatever that was and accuse the other person of being the one that brought it up to him. And honestly, I would not be surprised. I don't know for sure if Jackson or David was the one that suggested that trio, but I would not be surprised if Jackson was the one that brought it up, because he checked in with David all the time. He had these like little meetups with David when nobody else was around, and he was like, I got you, blah, 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 we're gonna work together. So I think that's definitely something that Jackson would do. All right, but of course, David is not here to speak his truth. So then Bella's like, oh, so like hearing these kind of things, for you to assume that of me, that I was talking game, was so annoying. So then at this point, Jackson leaves the room because Jack kept hushing him, and he even like patted his head at one point. It was like really condescending as usual. So Jack says, at the end of the day, we're all still 9 here. Blech. At least until they do the HOH competition, right? So Jack says this vote was actually good because now it's gonna look like we're not all together, so our group is not gonna be as threatening to the outsiders. So Bella says, all right, well, from now on, if I see you talking to Cliff or Nicole, I'm gonna assume that you're trying to pull them in. And Jack says, whoa, that's kind of threatening. Really? You're gonna say that something's threatening? Really? So Bella says, well, you can assume the same if you see me talking to them. So they shake on it. You know this is not gonna last. Jack says that there should always be someone else in the room. And then Sam's like, you know what, guys? This is a little absurd. Thank you. He says the HOH is gonna have to have one-on-ones with people. Just don't be having any shady conversations, okay? Just don't be freaking shady. People are overreacting about this. So then they were talking about how Cliff is like a freaking comp beast. He killed it in that camp comeback competition. So now they're all kind of like, whoa, we're a little afraid of him. Bella says, okay, yeah, I was cheering for Cliff in the competition, but I don't have anything going on with him, so I don't want you to think that. So Bella says if Cliff does happen to win HOH, she'll let them know what's happening. Oh, so you do have something going on? Apparently. She says, I don't have to do that, but I'm going to do that. Will you though? I have my doubts. So Sam says it's all water under the bridge. This next HOH is just gonna reaffirm trust for the group. He says we can run this house. Repair, rebuild, recover, recast. Okay, so Bella says that this is her 3rd blind side and she's sick of it. What the F are you talking about? Bella does not understand what a blind side is, and that's pretty sad. So they say that the next targets are Cliff, Jess, and Nicole. Again, we'll see depending on who wins HOH. And Bella's like, this should be an easy week. Jack apologizes. He says, sorry, I lost my cool. We didn't even get to see it. I hope they freaking show it on Sunday night's episode, or else I'm gonna be really annoyed. So meanwhile, in the campsite room, Nick is in there with Tommy, Holly, and Sis. Christy does join them eventually. So Nick is like, all right, guys, I get why you did what you did. I'm not mad at you until after HOH. He wishes that they would have done this as a group though. He really wishes that they would have come to him and said that this is what they really wanted to do. He swears that he would have went along with it. So then Nick says, now you guys are effed. Because they voted Cliff out and Cliff is back. And he says, Cliff has told him that he wants to take big shots, but he didn't say like who those big shots would be aimed at. So he's like, you know, I won't talk to him if you don't want me to, but if you do want me to try and save you guys, I'm more than happy, but most likely 2 of you guys are gonna go up. That's if Cliff wins HOH, because this was still before the HOH competition. So Tommy says, you know what, 2 of us should go up if Cliff wins, because that's the game, that's how it works. I wouldn't be surprised if Tommy was kind of hoping that Cliff would win and like Jack and Jackson or something would go up, because you know he wants them to go eventually. So Nick says that he really wants everyone to trust him, and him, Sam, and Bella are not like one person. They're 3 different game players. So Tommy says, yeah, but it kind of seems that way sometimes, that you guys are all one. So Nick says, well, we all have our own cliques that we hang out with within the group. And the others say they don't really feel that way. Are you kidding me right now? Come on. So then Nick is basically asking them if they don't fully trust him because he's close to Bella and Sam. And Tommy and Sis confirm they trust Nick way more than they trust Bella. So Nick says, I love Bella, but I get it. She's a recruit, so she doesn't really know the game that well. Yeah, they found her supposedly like drunk at a house party. Insane. So then Nick says that Sis and Tommy really hurt him the most because he really trusted them. They're close, so they're apologizing to him. They're like, we should have told you, you're right. Nick is crying, Tommy is crying, Sis not crying. That's not a surprise. So then Christy comes in and she's explaining why they felt like they had to vote Cliff out, and why they didn't tell Nick and Bella about it. So she says, we were scared to bring it up to you. You know, you were so against keeping Nicole, so they were afraid of that. And Nick says, I want you guys to trust me. And he says that he and Bella don't share everything with each other. Okay. So they're all claiming like, we don't have a problem with Bella, we don't have a problem. But we feel like Bella has a really big influence over you. AKA, they have a problem with Bella. So they feel like he would not have wanted Nicole out so badly this week if it wasn't for Bella, because she really took the whole Nicole thing personally. So then Christy's saying this was not a personal vote. She just felt like Cliff was bad for her game, bad for all of their games, and she says it doesn't change the way that she feels about Nick. And Nick says, I respect it. Cliff was our initial target before the whole Nicole stuff blew up anyway, so it's fine. He wanted both of them out at some point anyway, so the order doesn't really matter. So Christy says, I guess we should have just gone to you this morning as it was happening. Oh my god, she's really trying to claim that the vote flip happened that morning. Stop. So then they continue to put a band-aid on a broken leg, saying that they're gonna continue working together. They say that Cliff has gotta go next, and Sis is like, I effing hate him. She doesn't like how he stands by doors and listens to them. Did you not do that to him? All of that, you know, listening into his Cliff Notes and everything? Come on. Alright, so the 6 shooters are all trying to smooth things over with the rest of Undeniable, but behind closed doors, they're singing a different tune. Jack, Jackson, Holly, and Tommy were in the boat lounge, and apparently Jack really blew up while the feeds were down. He couldn't keep it in. I think it was directed mostly towards Bella, but probably Nick as well. I think mostly towards Bella though. And he says, man, I put a big target on my back. Yeah. And Jackson was also part of it apparently. He was trying to back up Jack. So Jack says if Bella or Sam win HOH, he's probably gonna go up on the block with Sis. But he says, you know what? We're gonna win HOH, so it doesn't matter. And Jackson is really, he's ready to blow. He really wants Nick, Bella, and Sam out of here. He can't wait. He says, put it on my headstone, day 30, Nick and Bella go up on the block. He says he is sick and tired of being all buddy-buddy and fake. He is drawing the line in the sand and kickstarting this thing. You're gonna have to win a competition for us to do that. So Holly is trying to calm these guys down. There is way too much like testosterone and crazy energy, so she's like, we have to be fake for right now. We still have to play the HOH competition, and we don't know who's gonna win that. So Holly is also pissed at Jackson because he almost blew Kat's cover during that whole blow up that we haven't seen yet. And Kat is supposed to be a mole for them. She's supposed to be bringing information back to them from Nick and Bella. So if Nick and Bella know that Kat is with them, they're not going to be handing out that info. But they are still planning on putting Nick and Bella up on the block if one of them wins HOH. And if the veto is used, Sam would be the replacement nominee. So much barking. I'm sorry about that. So Tommy is hard at work undamaged control. So he's talking to Jess, and he's like, oh, we should have come together and decided as a house, but we got selfish and stupid. I'm sorry, you should have been included in that, in all those conversations. So Tommy claims that the vote flip happened last minute. Come on, who are you fooling? So Jess is saying, you know, I just feel bad for voting out Nicole because I would have wanted to save her if I knew that the votes were there. More like she wanted to be on the right side of the vote. So then Tommy's explaining that they were worried about possibly having Ovi and Cliff back in the game together, especially if Ovi had a power, which he did. And Jess is like, all right, well, we better hope that Cliff doesn't get HOH. Are you serious? What, you don't want to be safe? I mean, really? So what kind of game is Jess playing here? Because it doesn't sound like Big Brother. So Cliff comes in, and Tommy talks to him next. So Tommy apologizes for voting him out. He's like, it's just game, it's not personal. And Cliff says, it's okay, we're cool, it's a game, don't worry. So Cliff says, I know that word was going around that I was targeting the couples, but that's not the case. And Tommy says, yes, I did hear that. He did clarify that he and Christy are not a couple. You're a duo, everyone knows it. So he also explains, again, how they were worried about Ovi coming back and having a power and working with Cliff, blah, blah, blah. So he says, we also heard that you want to make big moves. So Cliff tells him, don't believe that. He says that he doesn't want to target the big group because he'll just get one person out and then he'll have like 7 coming after him. So that's not him. He doesn't want to do that. He says he's just trying to survive until the 8 start turning on themselves and taking each other out. I think Cliff was also doing some damage control here, because I feel like since getting evicted, there's no way that he's just gonna play it safe and go after somebody like Jess or Kat. Like, he's gonna want to take out somebody big. So he's just playing it cool here, just in case someone from the 8 does win HOH. So he says, you know, if Nicole was the one that was evicted and I won HOH, I would have put up Kat and Jess. So Tommy's like, oh, Cliff, I'm so happy you're back as a viewer. But as a player, he's a little bit scared. So Cliff is telling him, you know what, I'm still down to work with the big group. So if you guys are interested, I'm all for it. Please tell me he's lying. Okay, so then Cliff talks to Sis and Christy, and he says, just so you know, I was never planning on targeting Sis and Jack. That's not what I'm all about. I don't know why that was spreading around so much. So Christy says she heard him talking about targeting the couples during his like Cliff notes, and Cliff says, yes, I did list all of the couples out loud, and I probably did say that I have to split up the couples somewhere down the line because there's 8 of you guys and there's 1 of me. But he says he's not targeting them right now. He would be stupid to do that. He would only be able to get out 1, and then he'd have 7 coming after him. But you know what? They're not gonna buy this. It was a good try, though. It was a good try by Cliff. So let's check in with Nicole real quick. What's she up to? She was talking to Tommy. They were sharing some long hugs, and he tells her, you know what? It just didn't feel right to us to have you go down for something that you didn't do. He says, we saw what was really happening with you and with Nick and Bella, but we couldn't say anything because Nick was the HOH. Let's be real here. They didn't want to say anything because they were using Nicole as their scapegoat, and they couldn't do anything about it until after Nick's power was gone, after the power veto ceremony was over. That's what was really happening. Because let's not forget, Tommy and all of the 6 shooters played a huge role in like villainizing Nicole. They were all a part of that. And Tommy was really one of the ones that kickstarted that, which is really sad. So Tommy says, you know, we saw what was happening, America saw what was happening, but we couldn't do anything about it. So Nicole is like, I thought everyone hated me. So Tommy says, no, the 6 of us love you. We want to work with you. Nicole is very emotional hearing all of this. I hope she's not just going to do whatever they want. So Tommy says that Nick and Bella think that the vote flipped last minute, but no, they were planning this for like days. So he tells her, if Nick and Bella ask you, don't tell them that they're your targets. And Nicole's like, yeah, I can do that. You guys just resurrected me. I'm so grateful. Ugh, whenever I hear the word grateful now, I just want to like throw up. So yeah, she's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Undeniable continues to scramble and check in with each other and lie to each other and pretend that they want to keep working with each other. Yeah, so then the feeds go down for a few hours for the HOH competition. And I am pleased to report that Comp Beast, official Comp Beast, Cliff Hogg the Third won HOH. Damn, he went from being evicted to coming back into the house to becoming this week's HOH. That's quite a roller coaster. So it was some sort of questions competition, and apparently it came down to Cliff and Jack. Woo! And after the feeds came back, Cliff is doing his celebratory dances in the storage room, and he's telling the cameras, I don't quit, I don't give up. You don't tell me what I can't do. You never tell me I can't do something. Q, you don't own me. Feels like the First Wives Club in there. So he says, I love them all. It's not personal, but there are targets in this house now. You know, he's got 6 people who voted against him. He says, we're gonna play a slightly different game, I think, this next week. Woo! I'm all for what Cliff is saying, but I wish he'd be saying it a little bit quieter, because he's really got to work on that, the sneaky voice, because he says everything quite loudly. I just don't want to see his game get busted again by people listening in to him talking to us. So anyway, he goes to the target room. He puts on his cowboy hat, and he says, there's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Cliff Hogg. But if you want, you can just call me boss. So then he throws his hat and he says, mic drop. Woo! He is feeling himself. So then Cliff lets Jess know that anyone who's already been on the block so far doesn't really have anything to worry about this week. Woo! So that means Kat, Jess, and Nicole, they should all be safe this week. So they're all relieved to hear that. They're excited for Cliff, and he lets them know he wants to talk to them and figure out the best move for all of them together. I really hope that Cliff takes this opportunity to unite all of the outsiders, because divided they fall, right? Okay, so Undeniable, on the other hand, they are all shitting their collective pants. And it is glorious to watch. Yes, so Jack is convinced he'll be going up. Jackson and Sis are trying to calm him down. Jackson has this plan. He wants to go to Cliff and offer him protection from the 6 if he targets Nick and Bella. So he's supposed to trust the 6 people that just voted him out, that they are gonna keep him safe next week. Really? That's kind of weak. Nick is worried because he realizes, whoa, I nominated 3 people last week and they're all still here. Yup. Christy is convinced she's going up 100% because the first week she put Cliff up on the block, and also she's been talking a lot of smack about him. So she knows that she has her power, but she doesn't want to have to use it. So then Kat comes in, she's talking to Christy. I believe Jack was in there. I want to say Sis was there, but I don't remember. So she wants to try and get Nick up on the block. So she's like, what can I say to Cliff to make this happen? Because she knows she has Cliff's ear this week. She is on his good list. So she feels like she could have some sway with what happens here. So Jack is like, well, you could pitch Christy and Nick going up, because they both nominated Cliff, and of course, you know, they would keep Christy and get rid of Nick. But he says he would rather go up himself instead of Christy to protect her. So Christy says, no, shut up. She doesn't need anyone doing her dirty work. Okay, so then Cliff comes in, they all kiss his ass, and it's hilarious. Alright, so then, after that, Jackson pulls Christy aside to chat one-on-one, because he's got another idea. Brain blast! So, he wants to tell Cliff to put him up on the block next to Nick. Oh my god, oh my god. So, he says it'll be great because, number 1, it'll get Nick up on the block. Number 2, it'll keep you or Jack off the block. And number 3, it'll hide his thing that he's got going on with Cliff, because he's already let the 6 shooters know that Cliff likes him and Holly, wants to potentially keep working with him and Holly. So he's gonna tell Cliff, like, this is a good chance for us to hide that. So Jackson's like, all right, if I pitch that idea to Cliff, would you use your, like, diamond power veto on me? And Christy says, yeah, but she's questioning what would happen if someone outside of their group were to win the power of veto. Because remember, she can only turn the veto into a diamond power veto. It's not like she could just use the diamond power veto herself. So they're only gonna have control over the renom if someone they trust wins the power of veto. Jackson, not concerned. I'm not sure if he doesn't clearly understand the rules or he just feels that confident that he would be okay if he was up against Nick for the vote. He feels like he'd have the votes to stay. I don't know about that, because something tells me if Jackson was up on that block, it would be a little bit too sweet to resist that temptation to vote him out. I would love it. Okay, so moving on. Apparently Jack blew it with his big mouth again last night. I guess this part wasn't on the feeds, but the after effect was, I guess he asked Christy about her power and to clarify the rules in front of Nicole. So then Christy had to explain the power to Nicole. And then she starts crying about how Cliff is gonna put her up on the block. I'm going up! Okay, so let's check in with Nick and Bella, because so far we've only seen them talking to other people from Undeniable. So we've seen them being like, we gotta keep the group together, we're gonna rebuild this, blah, blah, blah. But how do they really feel when it's just the 2 of them talking? They were in the camping bedroom, and guess what? No surprise here, they are pissed about the vote flip. They say they're not gonna believe anything that their alliance says. No way. Nick says he's gonna take a shot at one of them next week. Yo, you are a day late and $1 short. Come on. So they say they're effed. Christy has her power, and they don't know who has the second power or what it does. It's Jack. And they seem the most betrayed by Christy, Jack, and Tommy. And they are freaking fuming. So they would love to see one of them go this week, and they're gonna try and push Cliff in that direction. So we'll see what happens. Cliff gets his HOH room. It was really late. It was like, I don't know, 2:20 or something. Then he got his HOH room. He got, or 2:10, I don't know. Family photos, which everyone was like hardcore screeching about. His music was George Strait. He got all of his snacks, beer, this flower that he made out of, I think it was construction paper for his wife for Valentine's Day. That's so cute. He got this little flag, a little American flag, because he's planning on doing a moon landing reenactment to celebrate the 50-year anniversary. I believe that's scheduled for tomorrow, Saturday, so it should be fun. And he also got a letter from his wife, which was super cute. Family's doing well, the garden's doing well, very nice. I gotta say, he really held it together when he was reading this letter out loud. I thought for sure he was gonna break down and cry, but he was composed. All right, so very nice. So everybody hangs out for a bit, and then it's time for some game chats with Cliff, even though it was so late. Oh my God. So, whew, Jackson is up first. So Cliff says, you know what, I'm not really worried about you and Holly. I still want to work with you guys, but he does say he's concerned about Christy, Tommy, Jack, and Sis. And rightly so. So Jackson is pushing for Nick, Bella, or Sam to go up on the block, and he says a lot of people would really support you if you were to target one of those 3. So then Jackson volunteers to go up as a pawn against one of them, and Jackson brings Christy upstairs. She gives her reasons for voting out Cliff, blah, 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 blah. We've heard it a million times. And then she tells him about her power. So now at this point, everybody knows, because I believe Jess and Kat also found out last night. So literally everyone knows about her power. So Cliff tells them, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. This week he's really gonna try and make a decision that is going to keep the target off of him for next week. You know, he wants to make sure that he's not gonna make some big move and then follow that person out the following week. So then Cliff had a nice long chat with Kat, Jess, and Nicole, and he says, we're all the outsiders. We really need to band together here or we're just gonna all get picked off. So he says there's 4 of us. We could pair up with one of the couples and then take out whoever we want, because Cliff can't vote this week. So if they pair up with a couple, they would have 5 votes, and I believe it's 10 votes total this week, which means 5 for a tiebreaker. So yeah, they would control the vote if they could trust that couple. So Cliff lets them know he's narrowed his target down to Jack, Sis, Christy, or Tommy. And it's probably not gonna be Christy because he doesn't wanna like F around with her Diamond Power veto. So he says, I'm not gonna be pushed to do something that I don't wanna do this week. Woo! I'm super proud of Cliff. I have to say, I'm sorry that I said what I said yesterday during the episode chat. I said that I wasn't like super excited to see him come back because I didn't think that he would be willing to make a big move, but I think that eviction really woke him up and he's ready to rock and roll. So I'm proud of him. That's so good. Okay, so then after that conversation, it was like 4:30 in the morning. Kat is talking to Jackson in the bathroom area. These two were really flirty. It was gross. Like after everything that's happened. Bleh. So she lets him know, I just talked to Cliff and you and Holly should be fine. You should be safe this week. But she does let him know that Jack could be in trouble. So it's funny because Jackson wants to be nominated. He wants to make sure that Jack is gonna be safe. So he's like trying to get put up in his place. It would be so funny if Jackson was evicted instead. Oh my god. Okay, so let's just note here that Cliff did see Kat and Jackson talking on the spy screen in the HOH room. So hopefully he'll be careful with what he shares with Kat this week. It's hard to say where Kat's true loyalty lies. She's gotta know that I don't know why she's working with Jackson and Holly. I really would love to see her dump them and go work with Cliff, Jess, and Nicole. But who knows what she's actually gonna do. So then today, everyone's trying to get their FaceTime in with Cliff before nominations. It is insane how like nobody wanted to talk to him before, and now everybody's like, hi, I want to work with you. So they also started have-nots this week. Yay! Because they've got the old Camp Comeback room open for have-nots. So the first have-nots of the season are Jackson, Tommy, Christy, and Kat. Holy shit, it's gonna be so much fun to watch Jackson on Slop this week. All right, so nominations are going to be happening later today. It seems like Cliff is leaning towards Jack as his primary target, which is pretty exciting. And he might be putting Jackson up beside him. So Jackson wants to go up as a pawn, but not next to Jack. I think it's going to be really entertaining if those two are up together. It seems like he wants to keep Nick and Bella safe this week. He wants to go after Jack. And you know what? As much as I dislike Nick and Bella, I also really dislike Jack and Jackson and that group. So I feel like it's a win-win this week. I mean, Christy's power could potentially mess up Cliff's plans, and like hopefully in that scenario they would get rid of like Nick or Bella and not somebody like Nicole, because that would really suck. But yeah, I'm not really sure how the votes would fall. I didn't really like think about it and dissect that yet. But oh, what I was gonna say is I would rather see Jack leave this week because I want like 2 distinct sides, you know what I mean? And I feel like if Nick or Bella go, or Sam even, it's still gonna be kind of one-sided. I don't know that the other side would be as united. So I kind of would rather see Jack go, but I mean, it's gonna be a win no matter what, as long as it's not like Nicole or Jess or Kat. Okay, so anyway, woo, definitely is gonna be 2 of the 6 shooters going up on the block. Probably Jack, possibly Jackson. It's still kind of unclear at this point who exactly Cliff wants to put up. So if you guys check back later, we will put the nominees in the info box below. And it should be an exciting week. So let me know what you guys think. Power veto tomorrow. And until Until then, much love.